Good morning. Hi, everybody. It's Mary here to do a recipe redo with you. Today we are making a delicious homemade granola using some rolled oats and some great ingredients. If you're going to make this at home along with me, you might want to go ahead and preheat your oven. You'll need it at 350 because we're going to pop it into the oven pretty quickly. So let's get started with our healthy granola. I'm going to show you some key ingredients here. So we're going to use some rolled oats. These are whole grain, and we're going to be using about 4 cups of those today. It's going to make a big batch. Next, we have some nuts. I'm using a combination of pecans and pepitas or pumpkin seeds. These are both raw, so there's no salt or roasting added. We're going to toast them ourselves and add our own salt so that we can monitor that. We're also going to use a little bit of fine sea salt or whatever salt you have on hand, some cinnamon, ground cinnamon, and some vanilla. Both of these will add great flavor. And then we need some things to bind our granola when we bake it. So I'm going to use some coconut oil. This is a fully liquid one. I love working with this because it takes a step out of the solid coconut oils where you have to heat them up to melt them, because you do need it melted to mix into the ingredients. And then for a sweetener, we're going to use some maple syrup. Lastly, I'm going to mix in some coconut flakes partway through. If you love coconut, these kind of larger flakes, they're unsweetened. That's a super important part of the ingredients there. Oh, I should have not have said lastly so soon, because at the very end, we're going to add in some dried fruit. I have some dried cranberries here, and I'm going to give those a little rough chop and add those in. So let's get started on putting this recipe together. I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit, pull in what I need to put this together. So I'm going to just rough chop, because you want to rough chop them down to the bite-sized pieces that you like. Okay, to that, let's add a little bit of spice. That's all my dry stuff. And then we're ready to add the binding ingredients. Okay, let's get started on those. And I still haven't added my vanilla yet, but I'm going to drop that into one of these liquid ingredients. In fact, I think I can just add my teaspoon of vanilla right here. This is the last ingredient we're going to add before we pop it in the oven, because that coconut, it toasts up pretty quickly, so we're going to add that partway through. You want to mix it really good, trying to coat all of the dry ingredients. And to this, I'm going to spread it on to a parchment-lined baking sheet. So if you don't have one on hand, you can grab a cookie sheet, just something that this can spread out into one layer. It's a little bit thick, but that's okay, because as it bakes, I can stir it if I'd like my granola not to be super in big clumps, or there's another thing I could do, press it down to make it more clumpier at the end. So it looks perfect. I'm going to pop that in the oven, and then we will talk about some of the ingredients. I have a friend here that I'm going to introduce you to talk about some of the nutrition. So here we go in the oven. My oven's 350. I'm actually using convection bake, so mine's a little bit lower heat than that. But I'm going to set my timer for 10 or 11 minutes. We're going to bake it halfway. The total bake time on this is 21 to 24 minutes. I'm going to put it in just for half that time, and we'll get our fruit ready. And I'll also have my friend Natalie here, who is a Mighty Health nutrition expert, and she's going to talk about some of the ingredients we use, some of the things we could do to change it up, and then at that point we'll add some coconut. So hi, Natalie.
Hi, Mary. Thanks so much. It's so great to be here with everyone. I'm so excited to talk about this. I feel like heart healthy breakfasts are ones that are hard to understand. And I think a lot of us grew up eating cereal. When you pick up a Cheerios box and it says on it heart healthy, but is it really? No, it's full of processed grains, sugars, all that bad stuff. So I love this recipe because you have a lot of control over what goes into it. And kind of the star of this is the oats. And oats are really heart healthy because I know we've talked about this before, but it's a soluble fiber. So what that means is that it dissolves in water. And these are great to have in your diet because they lower blood glucose levels and your LDL cholesterol, or your bad cholesterol that you have. And the plus side of this too is it makes you feel fuller longer because it's going to release into your blood very slowly. So it's not going to spike your blood sugar level. And it's good. It feeds the bacteria in your gut. So there's lots of things to love about oats. Clearly, I'm very excited about oats. Big oat girl.
I was excited about them, but now I'm even more so. So thank you for
There's
sharing all
so much
that.
to love about it's heart healthy. We love good heart health. And then, like, I know you were talking about using pecans and pepita seeds, but the beauty of this recipe, you can add whatever kind of nut you want.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really
Okay.
want to make it extra heart healthy, walnuts would be a great choice. Almonds, sunflower seeds, you can add in a little flaxseed if you want some more fiber. There's so many ways you can add in nuts. And nuts are great to have that extra omega-3 fatty acid. And it's just another way to lower your inflammation that goes on in your body that can lead to inflammation in your heart and lead to heart disease. And they're just delicious. They have a lot of good flavor to them.
Especially when they're toasted, right? It adds that
Oh
extra
yeah. Well,
flavor
I know
to
I like
them.
that you mentioned buying just the raw nuts. That's a good way to do it because when you buy them, there's a lot of weird, it's really important to look at the ingredients, and even with the dried fruit, to look at the ingredients of what you're buying because they'll sneak in a lot of sugar, a lot of weird oils and preservatives and chemicals and things, why are they putting these in our food? So, but when you buy raw nuts, it's just the nut.
Both of these, one ingredient, no preservatives, no salt. And I wish you were here in my kitchen because the smell of those roasting oats and maple syrup and nuts is delicious.
I know, I wish I could smell it now.
Oh, I know. I wish you could. Let's talk about. I use coconut oil. I know there's other alternatives there.
Yeah, I love coconut oil for baking because it has the things I love about coconut oil. One, it has what are called medium chain triglycerides. And that's a type of fat that's really readily available to your body to use. So there are some studies showing that you have a greater energy expenditure when you're eating this type of oil. And it's mild, which I like about it. There's really not a coconut flavor to it. And it has a high smoke point. So that means you can really bake with it and use it in the oven and use it at higher temperatures than you could with another oil, and it's not going to oxidize.
So
But you
an
can use an
olive
olive
oil, right?
oil. You, of course, can use an olive oil if that's what you have on hand and you're looking for something a little more
Hmm.
savory.
And then let's talk about the different sweeteners. I use maple syrup, but I know this recipe you could also use honey.
Maple syrup and honey are great choices.
Okay.
And it's keeping intact a lot of the vitamins and minerals that are found in those sweeteners. It's not as processed. And it really is important to use in this recipe because of the stickiness of it. It really helps that granola clump together, which is what we're looking for.
You really need it to bind it, don't you? I
You
think
do.
if
Yeah, you
you
do.
go down on that and like the combination of
It
the
just ends up
coconut
being like a
oil.
cereal.
Yeah, it kind of falls apart. It doesn't get the clumps. So with that said, I did want to add, I want to measure out my coconut because that's what we're going to stir in a moment, and then get some of my fruit ready. I have dried cranberries, but you might know, Natalie, of some other fruits that might be
Yeah, you can
good.
use any sort of dried fruit in here. Again, the one thing I would suggest is looking at the ingredients when you're buying dried fruit and just making sure that it's really just dried fruit and not added
Uh-huh.
sugar. Sometimes that can be hard to find, but any sort of dried fruit would be great in here. You could also add in, I love that you're adding in coconut flakes. That's great.
Hmm.
I love in the cold months to add in ginger and just warming spices to it as well.
Ooh,
And I know when
nice.
I make this for my nieces and nephew, I do add in chocolate chips if I'm feeling a little indulgent. So
Yes, I know. I didn't even want to go there with the chocolate chips because I saw
you
that as
can,
an
you know what?
add-in, but
Sometimes it's good for the heart and the soul when you add in chocolate chips, but I would definitely recommend starting with dried fruit if you're having it every
okay.
day.
Well, I'm gonna get
And what's
my
great about this granola too is you can use it in so many different ways. You know, you can just
uh-huh.
have it as a snack. You can have it over yogurt. That's my personal favorite way
Me too.
to have this is just plain yogurt. I add in a
Mhm.
little honey,
Mhm.
some fresh fruit, and just load it up with this granola. And it's such a filling, delicious breakfast.
Right. Right. That's great. So I have my half a cup of coconut, the flaked coconut, and I have about 2/3 of a cup of my cranberries. Okay, I'm gonna make some room because I want to show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, here we go. So we're halfway through the baking process. I'm getting some great smells out of here. And this is where we add in our coconut because adding it at the beginning would have made it too brown. It got, too much cooking time for it. So I'm adding in my half a cup and I'm gonna stir it around just with that same spoon. And then I'm going to pop that back in for the rest of the cooking time. But never fear because I was up early granola making and I got a cooled one for you. So I'm going to take the one that I already pulled out of the oven, and then I let this cool for a good 45 minutes. It's completely cool, and you can see how I had pressed it down. So from here, let's see, I'm going to just stir in my dried fruit. And there I have it. I don't know, should I add a little, I want to taste it. I'm going to just taste it as it
Yeah,
is.
try the orange zest. See how you like it.
Oh, that's a great idea. Should I just put it directly over? Or I could just,
Yeah, just sprinkle it right on top.
okay.
This is what's so great about granola. You can experiment on the fly.
I'd love to take you up on that idea. Okay. I wish these recipe redos came with smell. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have
So
to fly out for California next time we do one of these so I
please,
can
please
eat
do.
it with
Come
you,
join me,
Mary.
everybody. Delicious. If I do say so myself. My goodness. So good. So easy. I could put a little oat milk, a dollop of Greek yogurt, and it's just a wonderful snack. I could just eat it like this. I don't even need the spoon. I could just dig in. I'm just being polite for you all. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining me in my kitchen. I hope to see you next time. We're going to make something great. Can't tell you what it is yet, but it'll be great. Bye, everybody.